Read and Write is a literacy support tool available to all students and staff in the Delta School District who have a Delta Learns Google account. In order to access the tool, it is necessary to be using the Chrome browser as well as being signed into Chrome. So let's look at how this is done. Okay. I'm signed into Chrome and I am using right now my own personal account. Now, the user may come across a computer, especially if they're working at home, that has another user signed into Chrome. Now, often this can be confused. There is Google and there is Chrome. It is Chrome that needs to be signed into in order to get the extension for Read and Write. If another user is already signed in, we can easily add a user. If another user is not signed in, we can easily just add a user as well. So let's look at how this is done. On a Mac, there are two ways. One by clicking on the profile, or by selecting People and Add. In this case, a name will be required. My suggestion is to always start with the first two letters, SD, followed by 37. This helps you easily identify which user is logged into Chrome. You can select an avatar and then add. A new window will then be opened. Let's get started. We can either skip or continue next if we're unsure as to what Chrome is all about. And the wonderful thing about Chrome is that any bookmarks, as well as any of our extensions, are then synced onto any other computer that we're signed into when signed into Chrome. Let's continue. Now we'll be asked to sign in with our Delta Learns account. The important piece here is that you must be signed in with a deltalearns.ca account. A Gmail account will not work. Once we sign in, we'll be asked whether we want to link the data, cancel, or create new profile. In this case, I'm going to ask to link the data. This will bring across all my bookmarks that I might have signed in on another computer with. If we're good with this, we click on Yes, I'm in. And as you can see now, my various extensions are beginning to populate, including Read and Write. Now, the Read and Write extension will work on Google Docs, websites, and PDFs that are OCR, or optical character recognition. Let's start by viewing a website. Here's a website that we may want to have some text read to a student, or perhaps we might want to use some of the other tools in terms of vocabulary or organizing notes. At the top, we have our puzzle piece. We'll click on our puzzle piece. The tools will arrive. Now, the first time that some of these tools are used within the various formats, so in this case we are using it on a web browser, we'll be asked to authenticate. This may also pop up the first time that we use a Google Doc or a PDF. It is okay to click on Allow. Now my toolbar is available. We have a variety of features. Let's just look at a few. The first is to read to us. So there is something called hover speech. When we turn hover speech on, we can see there is a purple line underneath. This indicates that the feature is on. We can stop it. Let's start it again here. And stop. So this is hover speech. Let's turn it off. We also have the ability to just highlight text and have it read to us by using the play button. Let's stop that. There are a number of vocabulary tools as well, one being a picture dictionary and the other being a word dictionary. I think I just got those mixed up. Picture dictionary on the right, word dictionary on the left. If I highlight a word, I am given the text definition as well as a visual image definition. I can have the text read to me. We can stop that. We can click on another word. In this case, electricity. And we can now close. So these two vocabulary helpers can be kept open at all times. Now there may be some students where the amount of text and the visuals becomes a bit too distracting. For that, we have something called Simplify View. So if we use the Simplify Page feature, we click, you'll notice another tab is opening up. The original page is still opened here, but another tab has also opened. And here the text has been taken with many of the images removed. We can look in comparison as to what was left. So here, this image remains. If you've ever sat watching a thunderstorm, let's see if that's on here. If you've ever sat watching a thunderstorm. So it takes most of the text. There are some other things within here that are actually quite handy. One is that all the read and write tools continue to be available. So we could have this read to us, and we can use many of the other features which we will continue to do. We also have some fonts, including Open Dyslexic, and we can change the size of the font to become easier to read. We can change the spacing. We can change the background colors. And we can further simplify. This feature does not use any algorithms in determining what is the most important information and what is the least important. It just removes text. So use this one carefully. So the more I click on the minus, the more text is removed. Now our tools continue to be here. These two we spoke about in terms of the dictionaries. Then we have our abilities to have the text read to us. This tool here will actually create an audio file of the entire text in the document. So if you want to create an audio file to listen to later, that works there. This is a web search. So if I was wanting to do a web search on any word or beyond what's here, I could just click on that and it quickly take me to thunderstorm and show me information around thunderstorms. You can see another tab is opened up. I'm going to go back to my Simplify page. Here we have a translator. And in here we can have them read to us. Now, it seems to me these sound Spanish. One of the things that we would want to do at the very start here is change that in settings. At the very end, there are three dots where we can change settings under options. A couple of recommendations here. The speed of speech is set at a rather rapid pace. We may want to reduce this to about 30. We can have continuous reading on, which means Read and Write will continuously read to us beyond the periods. So each sentence is read. Speak on each word, speak on each sentence. So we have some options here to change things. The translation, probably would like to change that to French. Other options are the predictive text. So if we want to use predictive text, the number of results here are 10. This will give us a list of 10 words that are likely to be used in a sentence. We'll be using this when we're on a Google Doc. I find, in most cases, 5 is appropriate. I like it to follow the cursor and predict ahead at times. Sometimes the predicting ahead can be confusing, so we may want to come back and change that. We can change the size of the text as well. There are some other features, such as Check It, which is a new grammatical, almost like Grammarly tool. Screen masking, which allows us to mask and see part of the text and hiding other parts. Different languages, features, which allow us to turn on and off various tools. When we're first in Read and Write, some of these tools are turned off, so if they don't appear, this is where you would find them. And then your account, and OK. Let's get back. So now let's see when we go back to Mighty, and the translation is now in French. All right. Another really handy tool in Read and Write is the ability to create vocabulary lists. We do this by highlighting words that we want to find the definitions for. So let's say we wanted to find these words. Down. Let's highlight that in yellow. Energy. Let's highlight that one in green. Cells. Let's do that in pink. And turbines. Let's do that one in green as well. It really doesn't matter which colors you choose when we're creating a vocab list. After we've selected all of our words, we're going to click on this tool here, Vocabulary. Read and Write is now working in the background to create a vocabulary list. Now, as this is the first time that I've used Read and Write to actually create a vocabulary list, which then accesses in my Google Drive and my Google Docs, it's going to ask for permission again. I'm going to click on OK, click on my account, pardon me, and then click on Allow. And here it is. A vocabulary list that provides the word, the meaning, the symbol, and a column for notes is created. This is saved in the Drive. A suggestion here would be to actually give this vocabulary list a meaningful name, as they are all named vocabulary list. Let's go back to our simplified document. Now, to clear all my highlights, the fastest way is on a Mac to go Command A, on a PC Control A, select all the text, and then use the broom. This sweeps away all the highlights. Another powerful tool, especially when working on websites, is the ability for Read and Write to collect notes. A great tool when doing research. So I'm just going to randomly pick some sentences here, just to show you how the feature works. So you can see here I have two sentences in yellow, one in blue up here, another one in pink here, and let's just make one more in blue. Now, when I click on this feature, it's going to collect and organize all my sentences in a Google Doc. I can select them by color or by position. I can also select which colors I want organized. In this case, I want it by color, all of the colors, and click on OK. It's now working in the background to collect them. Now it's organized all my sentences by color. So if all of these were around the same topic, it would organize all the yellow ones, the blue ones, and the pink ones together. Furthermore, it also provides a link back to that site and the name of the student who's completed the research. Once again, to clear our highlights, Command A or Control A, and sweep away. The last tool that we'll look at here is the ability to screen mask. At times, this might be helpful in terms of focusing on certain parts of text. Clicking on the settings and then looking here. So for instance, my reading color right now is white. My background color is black. The opacity is at 50. As I increase it, you can see it blocks out more of the background. My reading light is at 0. I might want to bring that up. Reading light height. This brings my feature up or down depending on how much text I want to focus upon. And then whether we want the reading light on or off. then click on OK. And there we go. We can now just focus on certain elements of the text. When we're finished with it, it's just a matter of clicking on the screen masking tool here or the screen masking tool here, and it's turned off. Now let's go back into that highlights tool of our notes. Here you can once again see that I have all of my tools. Let's look at a couple of tools that we have not looked at yet. The first tool that we'll look at is the one that is commonly used, which is the speech to text. This function with this talk and type icon turned on. Once it's turned on, for the first time, it will ask whether you want to use your microphone. You must click on Allow. Once you click on Allow, it begins to type every word that is spoken. It also understands punctuation, such as period, new line, I wonder what time it is, question mark. To turn it off, click on the mic. Another tool that is incredibly helpful for writing is the predictive text. Now we set this up in the settings before, as we saw over here. Settings, options, and prediction. And we set it to 5 words. Let's click on OK. The predictive text works by clicking on it. It suggests the most obvious words that might be used. Words can also be heard. As I scroll over them, the words are read to the user. Now, it also helps with spelling. So today in physics, that's the one. Because as I scroll through them, I hear the various manners in which it's read to me. But this one sounds right. Oh, another one. It also predicts the words in advance. So today in physics class, I lost my phone, and now I can turn this off by just clicking on the predictive text. So another handy tool, the predictive text. Next to it is Check It. This is a grammar functioning tool. So it looks for grammar and helps students identify errors in their writing. When it's turned on, words underlined in purple present an error, and a suggestion is given. Let's turn this feature off. So we have covered all of these features other than this very last one here, which we'll focus upon, which is a voice note. Now, people who are familiar, if you're familiar with Google Docs, you'll know that comments can be left throughout. So if I had a comment to leave, I could highlight a word, a comment bubble appears, and I can type something in. Now, in some cases, you or the student may find that a voice note is more appropriate. If this was a document seeking answers to questions and it was easier or more appropriate for the student to voice an answer rather than type an answer, they might use this. Or as a teacher, sometimes tone and inflectuation are more powerful when providing feedback. So let's try the voice note. Works much like the comment. Highlight the text, click on it, and you are able to make a 1-minute voice note. A minute is a long time. I think you'll find this. So we click, it's recording whatever we say. So this was an interesting paragraph. Thank you for submitting it. We then insert. The rainbow line indicates that it's just thinking, and once it's done, it will insert it. And here it is. By hitting the play button, the user will be able to listen to the listen to the audio note. So those are some of the main features within the Google Doc. The last one we want to look at is the PDF. Now, most PDFs that are found online are what are called OCR, or optical character recognition. Often documents that are scanned or photocopied are not OCR. We'll talk about those at the end. So once again, this is my first time within a PDF. So I'll need to select my account to give permission to read and write to access. Click on Allow, and here's my document. Here are my tools. You may recall some of these. This one's new. This is click to speech. So this is much like the hover speech, and it will read to me. The dictionaries, the text to speech. This one is called Screenshot Reader. This is powerful in terms of reading captions. So if there were any captions, you might want to use Screenshot Reader. It will read basically anything that is captured within it. So for instance, if I was to use it, the first time we use it, we may need to add it to Chrome. Add extension. And we can go back. You can see it's just added it here. So now when I use it, it'll read to me. And there we go. Our translation tool, all of our highlighter tools, including our collect highlights or our notes organizer. And here's our vocab list. The features that we have not seen yet are these these four at the end. One is adding text. So I can add text by just adding my name. I have some options here, including the predictive speech. I can also use the talk and type. I can increase my font if it's too small. I can change the color of my font, and I can move it. When it's in the correct position, I can say it's good. Now here you can see I have some text from a previous attempt. I can still move that. I can even delete it if I don't like it. Let's turn that off. Push pin allows us to leave notes. So if I use a push pin, it works much like a comment. So I could push pin here and say, please tell me more, and say OK. So when the recipient looks at this and clicks on the push pin, the note will be revealed. The next option is the freehand draw. So if a student needed to draw something, they could use this and they could draw. They can make the line thickness a variety of thicknesses. So 3 is often appropriate. I can change the color and erase. And they would just use their scroll pad to draw. The last option is this one here, the shapes drawing. Shapes can also be drawn, including lines with different fill colors and line thicknesses. So in this case, we can make a square, we can make a circle,